Chairman, thank you, and I thank Senator Cassidy for filling in for me this afternoon. Let me ask about to the VA. Does the Department of Veterans Affairs have adequate authorities and flexibility needed to partner with community long-term care facilities and to providers to provide care to veterans in their communities and potentially reduce the demand on VA-owned and operated CLCs?
Yes, again, sir. We have of the three authorities, one that's actually taken off more considerably is the Veterans Choice Agreements or Veteran Care Agreements, the VCAs. Most of the local contracts we call IDIQs, and then we also have the CCN. So we have agreements for over 8,800 nursing homes in the country. I have veterans in every one of those homes, but we have agreements and coverage for that many. So we like to find out which of those three authorities fit best for each of the nursing homes, because some may not like the aspects or realms of a contract, so we can use the VCA that may be able to be more negotiated a little bit different for them versus them joining the community care network.
What should happen when a small-town nursing home comes to me and says, we'd like to care for our veterans in our community, but we have no contract with the VA. What can you do to help us?
I'd have them directly contact their local VA and just explain that A, they're interested, because it always helps to have a facility that shows the interest in serving veterans. B, also they can find out, is there an unmet need, especially in their area, because especially in the rural areas, it's always nice to have some redundancy to give veterans better choice to be closer to their support networks and others. So it's really contacting their local VA to find out how they can do either the contract, the VCA, or joining the community care network.
Your authorities preceded the Choice Act. So when you use the word choice in one of those three options, it's really not related to the Choice Act, correct?
My apologies, sir.
No, I'm just clarifying for myself.
Sir.
There was no apology necessary.
Okay.
And then following the Choice Act, I don't know whether the Choice Act affected your capabilities to provide care in the community for veterans at a nursing home. Following that was the Mission Act. I'd like to know if it, which is now operational, does it give you additional authorities, make it easier for a veteran to get nursing home care in a community, or unchanged?
I think the VCAs have really helped in a niche between formal contract and our community. The community care network's even relatively new for us, so that added over 6,000 I think sites just by joining the CCN. So yeah, I think with adding the VCA, if a facility's not interested in a traditional contract, then we're able to ask them and to explain a VCA to see if that fits their needs. And many of them, that's where more of our growth here recently has started to become.
Would you assure me that there are no particular biases in the VA toward care within a VA facility versus a veteran who chooses his or her care to occur in a community?
We don't see that on a large scale, but we don't have any evidence of that. Because really our CLCs, our VA-owned CLCs, really serve a different population than many that are served in contract nursing homes and our state veterans homes. Many of them are more short-term rehab. There's 2 times higher level of PTSD. We've got higher levels of traumatic brain injury, certain diagnoses, as well as other issues.
So in many instances, they serve a different type of veteran, a veteran with a different circumstance in their lives.
Yes, each program tends to serve veterans differently. If they're more stable, the CNH contract nursing homes help them to get closer to their caregivers and their support, versus sometimes our CLCs can also be more of a short stay rehab, or tune them up, or some sort of other rehab type potential for folks in different populations.
And of course then we have our state homes as well.
Yes, sir.
I think it's difficult for families and veterans to determine the long-term care resources that are available to them. One of the provisions that we've included in the Elizabeth Dole Home Care Act is to require the VA to inform veterans and caregivers participating in PCAFC programs their eligibility in other long-term care programs. what is the VA doing now to ensure that veterans and their families are receiving those resources, that information?
I think right now what we've tried to do is to have every veteran that's enrolled in the VA, them and their caregivers can make an appointment with their primary care PACT assigned social worker. Because we like to have this provider involved, and that person can then determine what level of care coordination they need, and then they can also go let them know their eligibility when it comes to like institutional nursing home care, but then also the fact that most of our home care is not eligibility based or priority based in the sense of, and then helping them to the next step. So we try to let the social work and care coordination team really serve as kind of the landing spot to help all those folks then figure out where they need to be, and they could be handed off to the right kind of care level.
Thank you. I just would encourage you to make sure that the answer you just gave me is true across the country, true in every VISN. It's not an infrequent circumstance in which a witness or someone from the VA, conversations that I have with VA officials, this is what our policy is, but not necessarily known or operational in places in Kansas and across the nation.
Yes, sir. I think we can always improve, and we definitely take that feedback.
Thank you.